One of the goals at the Guest House Ocala is to remove the stigma around talking about substance abuse and trauma in a safe and comfortable environment. Lauren Millner, Vice President of Clinic Outreach, is joining us now with more. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Let's start with talking about your role there at Guest House Ocala.
Yeah, so important because we know making that first call to get into treatment could be so difficult. And my role is really to bridge that gap, to answer the questions and just be a kind, supportive voice for people seeking treatment.
Yeah, and so people seek treatment at you all because of what you do as far as they're going into their background and their trauma. And can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's so important, right? Because we know that so often trauma and underlying issues really get stuck and impact our daily lives. And so often when we're working with addiction or eating disorders or things like that, we really want to treat the underlying issues, the underlying trauma that so often gets stuck in our body.
Yeah, and we were just looking at pictures of the beautiful campus there in Ocala. Can you talk more about the campus and how it plays a role in treatment?
Yeah, so to treat trauma, you have to feel safe. And so the guest house was very intentionally designed to create a sense of safety and community and connection. You walk through the gates and you see the grass and the trees and the animals and the trauma llamas.
Yeah.
You instantly just feel, you take a deeper breath. You know, if you're ever in the area, I'd love for you to come see it yourself and feel that difference.
Absolutely, and you mentioned the llamas.
Yes, trauma llamas.
They're a big hit there as well. Okay, so let's talk about the signs that people may see in a loved one or maybe themselves that shows that they may need some help with either past trauma or addiction.
Yeah, I think what's really important about that is that when someone's struggling, we don't often see it. And especially with trauma and addiction, people feel ashamed, they isolate, we don't see the signs. Typically, though, we say, you know, if you're starting to see sleep disturbances or appetite changes or mood changes, and, you know, I think if you're noticing those things in your loved one, it's perfectly okay to say, hey, you haven't been yourself lately.
Yeah.
Is everything okay?
Right. And I know that you treat all kinds of people there, athletes, preachers, you know, every walk of life. How are you able to tailor the treatment to each individual?
Such a good question, because people do. They have all these different experiences and backgrounds, and the first thing we want to do is we want to get to know the person and really understand their story, and then put together a treatment plan that's specific to them. I mean, everybody's healing journey just looks different, and so often people come in with these different backgrounds and they find that there's similarities in their stories, which can really create a deeper sense of connection and feeling less alone.
Yeah, I know there's so many people watching or have loved ones who say they've tried everything, you know, but people seem to find success here. Why is that?
Oh, I love this question. Yeah. People call me and they're feeling so hopeless and desperate, and they've tried so many different things. And really what makes the guest house stand out, it's the people.
Okay.
It's our staff, and it's everybody. It's the housekeeping staff, it's the medical staff, it's the kitchen staff, it's the clinical staff. They all work together to really get to the root of what's going on.
Yeah, so I want to talk briefly about Judy Crane. She's started this space, and I know she is very prominent in the space of healing trauma. Can you tell me a little bit more about her and what it's like to work with her?
Judy really is. She's a pioneer in treating trauma in a residential setting, and I have admired her work for so long, so it's such a privilege to get to work alongside of her. I've learned so much from Judy. One of the things that really stands out to me is she encourages her team to do their own work, their own trauma work, because she feels that you can't treat a client if you haven't done your own work or aren't willing to do your work. So it's at this point, I've grown so much professionally and personally working with her. It's just so much more than a job at this point.
Yeah, and if someone is kind of scared to call because they don't know what to expect, what advice do you have for them?
Well, I want to start by saying I have so much compassion for that fear. And I also want you to know that 100% of the people who call me feel afraid and feel ashamed. And what I can guarantee is that you will be met on the other end of the phone with so much compassion, a lot of support and really no judgment.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being
you.
here and for sharing with us the Guest House.
Thank you so much.
And if you would like some information, you can just head to the website that we're going to put on your screen. There it is right there, theguesthouseocala.com. Again, theguesthouseocala.com.